Hey guys, James here, and I'm recording this a bit late, and also late by both. It's currently night out. It's like 6:49. God, night out 6:49. Anyways, I'm recording this both late as time wise, and also it's been like over a week since the announcement. But next time is Bowser versus Eggman, and I've said it a couple times, this is not a matchup I like. It's honestly one of my least favorite matchups of all time, and one of the matchups I least wanted. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna name this video just prediction or why I do not like Bowser versus Eggman. I don't know which one I'm gonna do. Future me will know that, but current me, I don't know. Because I don't like Bowser vs. Eggman, and I feel like I have pretty valid reason into not liking it. And it's kind of why I was not really too bothered to get right to doing this prediction video. Because, yeah, I don't like this matchup. And I've talked about why I don't like it before on various sites like on Twitter, and I think a video ranking all the Kickstarter matchups, the ballot matchups, tournament champions matchups. That video, I think, also explained my reasoning as to why I don't like Bowser vs. Eggman. And a big part of it is because of just harassment from fans of the matchup. And I know not all fans are like this. I've met a fair number of Bowser Egg fans who can actually be rational and go like, okay, yeah, I get why you may not like this. Or I can at least not be a dick when I say I have a preference. And there are some I am happy for, because, like, yeah, this is a matchup they really wanted, and they can at least be reasonable when I say this ain't my preferred for either, because, like, 2 years ago, I think it would have been, I considered this, like, a fine matchup, but not the best for either. Now, why is that? Connection-wise, yeah, it's good. I mean, part of, like, the hype of this matchup partly kind of feels like it's riding on the Mario-Sonic rivalry, and I feel like the whole Mario vs. Sonic rivalry was best left on Mario vs. Sonic 2018, because the first Mario vs. Sonic franchise pairing on the show was Mario vs. Sonic in 2011, and then having that end with Mario vs. Sonic in 2018, I felt like was a thematically perfect ending for that rivalry, because that is one of the biggest franchise rivalries ever, Mario vs. Sonic. And, like, having their two mascots be the start and end is very well perfect, especially since in recent years, I think, like, late 2000s, maybe early 2010s, they kind of stopped having that huge rivalry. So it kind of made sense to end it with with the characters that started the rivalry in the first place, the ones that were the big faces of it. So doing another one in Bowser vs. Eggman kind of feels like kind of doing Wario vs. Knuckles. It's just like, why? This rivalry, I feel like, kind of ended about 6 years ago now, good God, for the show at least. And doing another one just feels redundant and not necessary. But by a connection standpoint, I think it is fine, and it does a good job with the two. It's where the dynamic comes in that I have this issue with the matchup that make me not really want to consider it the best for both. And what do I mean by this? Everyone praises this matchup's dynamic like it's the greatest thing since Jesus H. Christ. And it's kind of just basically limitations and how you kind of have to do one or both dirty for it. People hype this matchup up because it's an army fight, or you can have an army fight with it. That was, like, the biggest selling point for the matchup back in 2020, 2021? Like, the fact that you could do a big army fight was the biggest hype point for this matchup, and one of its main selling points, and what got a lot of people into the matchup. Problem is, that works wonders for Eggman. Like, I'll agree, Eggman army matchup, amazing. Like, look at Eggman Wily, and just the time it came out, it's a great episode for when it came out. It's not more so like a good one nowadays, but not great. But definitely could have been done better with modern Death Battle. Problem is, Bowser, in my opinion, doesn't work the best for an army fight. Now, what do I mean by this? Because like, yeah, he has all of the Goombas, the Koopas, the fucking others. problem is, like, more often than not, he fights on his own, not really with an army. And also, he has a lot of stuff, way more stuff than Eggman for his own episode, like, just a more Bowser-focused one than Bowser's army-focused. When it comes, like, his arsenal, abilities, he has a shitload of them that you would kind of have to axe for an army fight. Because, yeah, Death Battle has limitations. People forget that sometimes. Especially when it comes, like, a budget limitation, and especially now with the Kickstarter. And while I can't say for certain, like, how much smaller or maybe even higher the budget is for the show, there is obviously a limitation, which is understandable with their current situation. So, an army aspect, really, you're gonna have to undermine a lot of what Bowser can do on his own. And Eggman, like, yeah, most of his stuff comes from his army elements. He doesn't have as much, like, on his own shit as Bowser does. And that's kind of where my main issue with this matchup lies. Just, you either have to cut down the army aspect, which feels like it's neutering Eggman's side of stuff, or you have to neuter down on cut down on the 1v1, which is limiting Bowser. You can't really balance the two in a 3 to 4 minute animation for a Death Battle episode. Yet apparently, me saying that is just free reigns for Bowser Egg fans to harass me when I say it's not my preferred for either. And yeah, guess what? When you're going to be a dick because I don't like your matchup or consider it the best option for both of them, I'm not going to like the matchup. It's not like a rocket science thing, and I know there are people that say, oh, well, you shouldn't let that affect the matchup's quality. I feel like the people who say that have not actually been fucking heckled or not liking an idea or just thinking there are better ones. Because, yeah, I'm going to look at this matchup and be like, oh yeah, people are dicks with this one. Why should I like it? Why should I want it to happen on the show? Why would I want people who are being assholes to be awarded for it? By getting what they want. Like, it's just I don't really get that mentality. So, yeah, I don't really like this matchup. And, like, it's weird, because Eggman's side of things, when I say I prefer a Wily rematch, people seem to be generally cool with it. Probably because, like, yeah, Eggman Wily was very good for its time, and yeah, a rematch could do wonders, especially since it has a undecided verdict for the original episode. Kind of a cop-out ending, so yeah, it could definitely do wonders nowadays. Especially with Death Battles actually having a budget instead of just a couple of shoestrings and duct tape back then. Where when I say I have a preferred for Bowser, that seems to be where people have an issue, because I like DDD more for Bowser. I find it having way more fun dynamic. And while, yeah, it doesn't have as many connections aren't everything. I find it to have a way better dynamic going for it. It works far better for Bowser, since you don't have to have it be a solely army fight. You can have it focus way more on Bowser's own stuff than you can with Eggman, without, like, cutting off Eggman shit. So, yeah, I don't really like Bowser Eggman, and my reasoning for it feels pretty valid. And I know a lot of people, including the team, are hyping this up. And, yeah, from what we have on trailers, I feel like my issue is going to be validated. Because they're hyping up the army aspect of it, and just from what we've seen of Bowser's preview, it feels more along the line of Link's preview in 2021, where it was like a smidget of a story, of Link's story, not really anything for his character, and it's just a fucking thread of arsenals and abilities. I have a feeling that might be what Bowser's rundown is going to be like. I know people are going to go and say that we do have a sneak peek, or not really I say sneak peek loosely. We have snippets of the animation, which, yeah, it looks good visually, but you know what else looks good visually? Gogeta versus Vegito. That looked good visually, but it's a boring as hell episode with its fight. Good-looking visuals is not enough to save an episode for me. And I feel like this episode's really going to have that issue. It's going to be very much like Gogeta vs. Vegito, where, yeah, it looks good visually, but the fight is very much lacking. And I know, like, yeah, team members are hyping it up. Team members also hyped up Macho Man vs. Kool-Aid Man, and while I liked that episode, most people didn't. So I don't think team members hyping this one up is a good selling point or like an instant indicator that this is going to be a banger. So I don't really feel like that's a valid argument against that. And also, while I'm on the animation, it's hand drawn, which is I've seen people praise nonstop. I think they also forget that hand drawn, by what we have as previous examples on the show, is kind of limited, especially with like how much you can do in a fight. And I brought this up on Twitter, like bringing up this double standard, because I look back at Mario vs. Sonic 2018. People bitch about that one being hand-drawn instead of sprite, since, yeah, it limited what they could do. And one answer I got was that, yet modern Death Battle, or Death Battle nowadays, can do more with hand-drawn animation than what they could back then, which is true, but looking at examples from, say, Season 9 at the latest, it's not too much. Like, look at Omni-Man vs. Homelander. A big criticism with that episode is that there's really only, like, 2 or so minutes of fighting, and a whole minute of just, like, them talking, which worked wonders for that fight, or for that episode, I should say, but it's also still a big criticism people have with that episode. And, yeah, I don't think something like that is gonna work well with Bowser vs. Eggman. Now, another one is Scooby-Doo vs. Courage, but there's kind of a difference with that, where that one focused on an entirely different thing, being a mostly comedy thing. Not balancing a whole fuck ton of equipment and whole other characters in it, which is going to focus on a lot of animation. And then Rick vs. the Doctor, which that episode does get praised, but it's not for how much of their arsenal the two use, it's for, like, the character interaction, how they characterize the two. So, and kind of storytelling. So I don't think the examples of recent hand-drawn episodes really give me the best hope that this episode will be able to utilize the two at the best of its capabilities without feeling like it really neutered them and would have been better off if they did their other options. I'm trying not to be an ass to Bowser vs. Eggman fans, even though good amount of them don't really feel like they don't really follow the treat others how you want to be treated sort of thing. And then there's also like the whole army aspect, which we only have like one other episode in modern era, which is still like a good couple years ago in Ultron vs. Sigma, was how they can show to do an army fight in Death Battle, and that was sprites. So that wasn't as limited with how much it could do with its animation. That one kind of abandoned the whole army thing, like, halfway through. Like, it's memorable for its setup, some cool bits of animation at the start, but is swiftly kind of just left behind for a 1v1 with Ultron and Sigma. And Eggman doesn't really feel more like the 1v1 kind of guy, and more like the army kind of guy, especially with how he fights. So, yeah, like, examples we already have is not giving me high hopes for this episode. So, yeah. I don't know, I feel smug saying that, but like what we have as examples that people are pointing to for like, oh no, this could be amazing because of these, for whenever these issues are brought up, don't really do anything to make me think, yeah, this episode is going to be extremely held back and done dirty. Or these characters, I should say, are going to be done dirty. So, I don't have really much faith in this one, and I feel like my issues with the fight are going to be vindicated here. And I'm not, like, taking any jabs at the team here. I know DJ is very excited about this. I know, like, Luis, he was also hyping this up a good bit. And Moro, yeah, he's probably excited for it. I'm not, like, trying to fucking shoot them down or say they can't be excited for this or anything like that. I feel like there's going to be at least one jackass out there who's going to say that's what I'm trying to say and twist my words to be that. I'm not saying that. I am glad DJ can do a matchup he really wanted to do, but that does not take away my criticisms I have with the matchup that are really noteworthy when you actually stop and think about them. And now, like, they're normally, like, this would be like 10 minutes ago, but normally by now I would talk about like things I want to see in the fight. And that's kind of like how I differentiate my prediction videos from most others, because most others mostly just focus on like the debate for it, where I like to try focusing on like things that could happen in the fight that would look really cool. But I kind of don't feel like doing that with this one, because I'll go back to my main issue. I don't want to try hyping myself up for something I feel like I'm just going to be disappointed in. And yeah, I don't really want to give this matchup the time of day to do that. I don't have a high opinion. This is like my third least favorite matchup of all time. Though I guess it would have been... well, it was my least wanted match of all time. It was my third least wanted. Obviously, it's not there because it's happening, but you know what I mean. It's not a matchup I ever wanted, and I feel like they are... I didn't want it. I very much did not want it. I was heavily against it happening. So, yeah, I don't really feel like I can do a... oh, these are some things I feel like could happen in the fight, because I feel like there's just not going to be able to get done at all. And I know there are times before where I say, like, I doubt that Fel will be able to do this, but, you know, like, last time was including some of the Phantom Thieves member in Jorno vs. Joker. Which, yeah, obviously they wouldn't be able to do that, but I still had other stuff I could definitely see happening in the episode. With this one, I'm expecting, like, maybe a couple of, like, cool moments, but we'll mostly get drawn back by just the thought of, you could have done a lot more with these suits or other ideas. Like, that's just mostly what I feel like I'm going to go in with that. And probably leave the episode with. But I'll still talk about the debate. Well, I won't talk about things like I want to see in it, because they're not going to be getting it. I will talk about the debate, and after the last two was a lot of debate on like what they might buy for invincible scaling, or, you know, just how they interpret Grr. I'm glad Bowser vs. Eggman has a pretty straightforward debate to it, and yeah, I'll say it, this matchup is pretty straightforward with outcomes, just Bowser wins. I know they're including a lot of stuff that is traditionally not standard, such as the Time Eater for Eggman. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Eggman's gonna win because Time Eater, where... no. I really much do not see an outcome where Eggman is winning. Because I really don't buy Eggman scaling to the top tier Sonic shit in the games. Also, I should kind of give a brief explanation of what they're including for the stuff that people might find debatable if they should. They're getting, like, all their previous equipment that they worked with and people they worked with. Besides, like, Shadow the Hedgehog and Knuckles. And there's probably an example you can make for Mario, or Mario characters of Bowser that I'm blanking on. But, like, previous bosses, such as, like, King Boo and, like I just said, Time Eater. Their previous, like, minions, you know, all those little funny guys. They're including all of them as part of their standard arsenal, which Time Eater shouldn't be considered standard, but it is. They're also including the, oh, it was a Sonic comic. It's not Archie. What the fuck is it? I can't remember the name of it. I'm blanking on it. It's not Archie, it's the other comic series for Sonic. They're including that. They're including the first 3, at least, Paper Mario games. Because there's a lot of debate on if Paper Mario and Mainline Mario are the same one. There's a lot of evidence for it. There's a good amount against it. I feel like the safest option is always just scale the Mario characters to the first 3 Paper Mario games. And the third one is Super Paper Mario, where, as far as I know, all the good shit comes from that. So, I need a drink. So yeah, really the only stuff they're entirely excluding when it comes to media is Mario-kun, which is the Mario manga if you didn't know, and Archie Sonic, for reasons they've explained a fair number of times before when they did Archie-specific matchups and Mario vs. Sonic 2018. That's the only stuff they're really excluding. Now, like I said, I don't really scale Eggman to, like, to top tier shit. So where do I scale him then? Where I'd actually have my phone ready this time around for some scaling. But for Eggman, gets about the final Egg Blaster, Vaporizing Stars, which I don't have it calced here. Weird. It was like, I think it was in the multi-solar system range. I don't have the number here. And also 72C via, what was it again? Metasonic traveling from Little Planet to the Death Egg. That's kind of where I have Eggman without the scaling him to super stuff, but there are obviously, like, he has like a super form apparently in one of the comics, and there's also fucking some mechs he have that should debatably scale to supersonic stuff, so I'll include supersonic feats and stats, blah. But there's both supersonic, or a lot of characters that supersonic fights are like multiversal threats, and Sonic's cosmology has been found to have, how much was it? 360 or 26 universes in the multiverse. Excuse me. And then Solaris spreading his light across the universe, which got, what was it? 77 quadrillion C. That's good, yeah. That shit is good. And then there's also Time Eater, which is immeasurable because it's like eating time, blah. But what about Bowser? And this is all like base shit for Bowser. We got, you know, defeating, what was it? Obviously we're going to scale into Mario and Luigi. We're scaling Eggman to Sonic, so it's fair. But Mario and Luigi defeat Z-Keeper. Z-Keeper could destroy Neo Bowser's castle barrier, and the barrier was powered by a Dreamstone, which is an artifact containing a cosmology of 100,000 universes in it. That's way more than Sonic's there. Even if you want to half it, because Mario and Luigi beat what the fuck is Z-Keeper? The name is so dumb. Z-Keeper, that's a dumbass name. Even if you want to half it, that's still 49,677 more universes than Sonic scaling. So yeah, Bowser's just fucking way stronger than Eggman here. And then for speed, there are multiple speed feats that get into the quad range. I have, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five speed feats that got into the quad range, and because someone's gonna say like you didn't name them, so they're not real, or some stupid shit like that. Mario and Luigi piloting the Starship Mario's across this galaxy clusters, and in the original Japanese Galaxy 2, the galaxies called universes, which got 293.4 quad C. Launch stars launching characters to the Trio Galaxies at the end of the universe, getting 293 quad C. Bowser flying to the center of the universe in a few seconds, which got 564 quad C. At low end to high end is 6.77 Quin C, which is faster than quad C. Millennium Star flying to the center of the universe, 880 quad. Power Stars flying Mario back from the edge of the universe, 293 quad to 489 quad. Prankster Comets flying across every world in seconds, 9.93 Quin to 23.48 Quin. There are some other feats, but, like, yeah, they give you the gist. Bowser is faster and much stronger. But I mentioned Time Eater, and that eating timelines, so it's infinite speed. There's also infinite speed feats for Mario, surprisingly, I know. But basically those consist of, I have another tab for this, but King Boo's crown created the paranormal dimension, which resembles a dimension where the Scare Scraper takes place. The Scare Scraper is endless and go on for infinity, and Luigi dodge attacks from the that are created by the crown. I'm reading a How Powerful is Bowser blog by Corndog, it seems. So credit for that. There's like 2 other ones too. Where is it? Mario, Luigi, and Peach travel through the entirety of the Over There stair, which consists of traveling through never-ending layers of clouds. So infinite, because you're going through an endless loop of shit. And then Mistar, I don't know how the fuck you say that, stated that at the rate Bowser was going to destroy all dreams one by one, which was stated that there was an infinite amount. So yeah, infinite Mario speeds. If you're gonna use Time Eater, you're gonna use infinite Mario speeds. So basically it puts it so they're as fast as each other at best, but Bowser is far stronger. And there's also just the shit. And I know there are some win cons for Eggman, such as the fucking virus he has, which I guess can affect living things. But there are so many more fucking win cons for Bowser that you would have to ignore to argue Eggman winning. Which consists of, let's see here. Transmuting Eggman and his army into blocks of frogs, poison non-organics with both organic and non-organic with noxious clouds, create portals to teleport Eggman or his army away, time travel, which he can just do on his own. Eggman doesn't really have that capability. Minimizer to shrink down anything from Eggman or just Eggman himself. Double cherries to make more of himself and his army. Capture souls with the catch card. Freeze Eggman and his army in time. With the stopwatch. Manipulate reality with both the Wonder Flower and his own abilities, which does include gravity. It's his own shit. There's also like some stars or hearts that he has access to, which normally you do need like Peach, Luigi, and Mario. But Bowser also has like 11 phones, which you can use as one-time things to call anyone, whether enemy or ally, to help on your side. They have no choice to. So yeah, Bowser has way more win cons that are more reliable than Eggman's. That's kind of just the long and short of it. And at best, like I said, at best, they're as fast as each other. At worst, Bowser's way fucking faster than Eggman. And Bowser's just always way stronger than Eggman too, so it's a very straightforward outcome. I don't really see how people find it debatable. I somehow made this prediction almost half an hour long. How did I do that? But yeah, as for roots and bets, rooting and betting Bowser. Bowser's like my favorite villain. And I hope these two both return in the future. Eggman Wily rematch and Bowser DDD. They just can, utilize the better parts of their dynamics. So yeah, I'd rather get them in the future, which hopefully we will. They did seem interested in Bowser vs. DDD when there was the cast. So yeah, hopefully Bowser can return and get a matchup that makes more sense for him. And hey, DDD is awesome. I'm always down for DDD to return. And Eggman Wily, kind of a long overdue rematch. I'd argue it's more overdue than Bowser Eggman is. So yeah. I somehow made this almost half an hour long, and I'm not at all excited for this. I'm glad I could just not worry about talking about this matchup for, I think 2 weeks. I don't remember when Bowser Eggman comes out. I think it's the 17th that it comes out, roughly. I don't have to really think about this matchup till then, because I can kind of just ignore a lot of the talk on it. Also, apparently the fourth one is one that, Ben said was unexpected, or, no, what was it? It's not a Tournament of Champions matchup. That got debunked by Ben. But it's a matchup that the team was not sure about at first, but the community convinced them it was awesome, and it's going to be Among Guys. It's going to be fucking Among Guys, ain't it? That's everyone's guess. It's just Among Guys. And I might as well talk about some other possibilities I've seen thrown around. There was 6-8 Doom, which is Doomsday versus SCP-682. Because, yeah, the cast did convince them it could be pretty cool, but I kind of issue with that argument, whereas these first 4 episodes are ones that already started production. At least I believe they are. Maybe someone can correct me on that. I might be misremembering. But these first 4 episodes of Death Battle's independent season era, independent era, where all episodes that started before the Rooster Teeth shut down, and they only did the cast that convinced them Doomsday could be a really cool episode after the RT closedown announcement. So I don't think it's 6-8 Doom, because timeline-wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's also Richard Nixon, or say that was no context. Dr. Manhattan versus Richard Nixon, because that was one that they probably were not sure about at first, because it's Richard fucking Nixon. What the hell? But there was the suggestion in the ballot 2 years ago, and Bet did seem interested in it. He did seem to want to look more into Monument Mythos and as that an idea. So that's on the table. That could possibly be possible. I would definitely like that. That's probably like my favorite option of the bunch. There's Lusamine versus Ragyo Kirwin, because that was one they kind of seemed a bit that what the hell at first when doing ballot banters, but the Liam and Sam saw that it had more hearts than Bug versus Mickey, so yeah, that probably there might be something there. And then lastly, which is one that would actually be kind of cool, and I'd probably be down for this the most, even though it's not my favorite of this bunch, is Michelangelo versus Jay from Ninjago. Because, I don't know, like, there was the cast, and yeah, this Ninjago, fucking Legos on the show, that seems kind of weird. But the cast did seem to convince them, and I'm down for Michelangelo getting another episode that doesn't call him a fucking slur. And Ninjago on the show would be really funny. And apparently Ninjago is like decently high requests, which is weird, but then you remember, oh yeah, most Death Battle fans kind of grew up in the era that was releasing and still airing on TV. That checks out. Those are like the main possibilities I've heard. There's obviously other ones. My guess is for a more realistic guess, Among Guys, which I don't like, so that would suck. For a more optimistic and what I personally hope it'll be, any of the last three I talked about, really, I'd be down with any of those three. But, yeah, I do not like Bowser vs. Eggman. I'm not really going in with high expectations at all. Don't fucking harass me for saying I don't like this matchup and explaining my issues with it. Hopefully Eggman and Bowser can return with matchups I think suit them better. But, yeah, I'm fucking tired. Peace.